Subscribe to Devil's Angel and hit the bell icon to be notified about the latest videos. Devil's Angel. Hey there, welcome to another Devil's Angel video. So as you may already know, Apple recently added support for PS4 DualShock controllers for iOS 13 devices, and I was about to buy one, but someone commented on my video about how much he is enjoying playing with the iPega 9083S, which cost 3 times lesser than the PS4 controller. I was intrigued and finally gave in to the temptation to buy one, and here it is. So am I enjoying my time with it while hooking it with my favorite game War Robots? And does it support other iOS games as well? Let's find out. So this is the iPega 9083S, and this is the upgraded model, as you can see here. And the only differences that are there from the previous one are that first of all, it does not support the Nintendo Switch. So there are only 3 switches here. One is for Windows and the other 2 are for Android and your iPhone. And the second one is that this now support the Shooting Plus V30 app on both the Android and iOS platforms. So that basically makes it fully compatible with both Android and iOS, and you do not need to purchase a separate key mapping application on Android. And now previously it did not support iOS at all, but with the Shooting Plus V30 platform it can support any and every game on iOS as well. So these are the differences, and this is the new devices box. So this reads upgraded and compared to the previous one which I had bought and reviewed. If you want to check out its review, the link will be in the description. As you can see, there are the only differences here is that this supports the Nintendo Switch, which it does not, and most other things are same except that this one also supports the iOS platform. So coming to the hardware quality, actually this is quite well built and sturdy, and compared to other Chinese brand, iPega is one of the premium devices in the budget categories, and all the keys and buttons have a very good travel to them, and there are a plethora of options of customization because it has almost all the buttons that you need. And compared to the PS DualShock controller, you only don't get the capacitive screen or the trackpad here, which is a slight bummer because that is very useful in the FPS or the first person shooter games because it allows for very accurate movement of screen. So other than that, it is very well built, and it supports very large devices. As you can see, it's much larger even than this 9.7 inches iPad, so it should support even the larger ones. And since the backbone here is this plate, and it's not a separate mount as you see on some other controllers, this supports the heavier phones and even iPads very well. So if you are looking for a controller, I will not advise you to go for something which has a pop-up stand, and going with this is useful for even for phone as well as for your iPads. Now coming to the key mapping, you will need to download the app called Shooting Plus V30, and before you do that, make sure that you take a screenshot of the gameplay. So for example, we are key mapping the War Robots game here, so this is a screenshot from one of the game's moment, and then when your Titan is ready, you can take a screenshot of that as well. So once you've done that, you have to go down to the app called before you do that, let's connect this device. I think it's probably already connected. If it's not, then you have to press the home button and search for the device in Bluetooth as usual, and it should connect. So as I can see here, it's already connected. So once you do that, it's already connected. So once you do that, move to the app called Shooting Plus. I beg your pardon, the app's name is Shooting Plus V3 and not Shooting Plus V30. So once you open this app, you will see a device connected sign in green on the top, and you will also see a list of the games which are supported by default by this app, so you do not have to key map these games. If your favorite game is one of these, then you can skip the next 4 to 5 minutes of this video. Alright, so moving on to key mapping part, it is actually quite simple and straightforward. You have to long press anywhere on the screen and upload the screenshot of the gameplay that we have already taken. And here what you need to do is press the buttons on your gamepad one by one and place them on the place that on the screen which you want to trigger by that button. So this should be very much self-explanatory from here onwards. Some things that you need to keep in mind is, for example, if you want to use the shooting buttons, then you have to select the option of turbo setting from the menu itself. So that those buttons will not require to be pressed and depressed over and over again for continuous firing. You just have to press the button once and they will continue to fire. So this is one thing that you need to keep in mind. The second thing would be to when you press the perspective joystick, the right joystick or the left, whichever one you choose, you have to also select the option of perspective from the options of that key button, instead of going for the normal rocker options. For that will be used for the panning around of screen in 3D games especially. So that is the second thing. And finally, one more thing that you have to keep in mind will be that when you're key mapping for the Titan, specifically in the Robots game, one of the buttons which is for the special power will have to be placed at the approx location of that game, because we cannot see it on the screen right now. So that is where I am placing it. So these are a few things that you need to keep in mind while you are key mapping. If you have any other queries or questions regarding key mapping, you can post them in the comments. I will be glad to help you out. So let's now move on to the gameplay experience. So finally moving to that portion of the video for which you were waiting for a long time, the gameplay experience with my iPad. And let's now quickly open the Robots game and jump into a quick game here. So we are driving on to the ship or the boat, and here I have spawned with my strider. And I had my fingers crossed here because my previous experience was pretty bad with the 9083 controller. Now this is the 9083S, and as you can see, all the keys are thankfully working as they are intended, and even the dash and everything as is working as we had programmed. The only minor or somewhat major gripe is that the pan function is way too fast for my liking, and this is a problem because when you are in a close range combat, especially on this game, you will be losing your target like this more often than not, and this can be a drawback. And the only workaround as of now for this situation is using the screen instead of the pan around or the perspective view joystick, so that you have more control and more accuracy on your pan control. And this will also be a feedback to the Shooting Plus V3 team, because this is something which can easily be fixed with the future update, especially keeping in mind that on the iOS platform, not many games give you the option of controlling the gamepad sensitivity. So that is something that can only be fixed by the team which is giving the key mapping solutions here, which is the Shooting Plus team. Other than that, I would say the gameplay experience has been pretty nice, pretty decent, and it for one, it brings the nostalgic feelings of playing a good old console, for example the PS or PS2, PS3, which we have brought up playing, and it was one of those feelings that evoked when I was testing this keypad out. And secondly, if you want to be a pro player, then uh, you got to have a muscle memory on the controls of the game, so which is only possible by the tactile feedback of the buttons of a gamepad. And that is why I would definitely recommend it to anybody of the pro league, and for anybody who is also a general connoisseur or a fan of this game or any other 3D game, because this does enhance the gameplay experience, except for a few other things which can be fixed with the workaround. So this has been a good experience overall. And yeah, that is it for the War Robots game. If you have any other request of any other game which you want me to test out with this controller, then you can leave your comment below, and I will definitely test out more and more games with this, and tell you my experience about it. And especially if you can select one of those games which is listed by default, that would be better, so that we can test out the default settings provided by the Shooting Plus team as well. So guys, that's it for today's video. If you want to continue watching, the gameplay is going to continue, and I am Atul signing off, and I will see you around soon.